Efkalisto. Very excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. I want to start with a funny little personal story. When I was in high school, I suffered an injury. I broke my jaw, and I had to have my mouth wired for 60 days or so. I lost about 20 kilograms, and I could only drink through a little hole. And I could barely talk, but one of the things that obviously affected me was that I couldn't play sports anymore. And so I decided to focus a lot of my energies towards music. I had already started playing the guitar when I was a couple years earlier, so I figured, let me just double down on this. Now, at the same time, there was another guy in school, and he was by far the best musician of the school. He could play the violin, the viola, the banjo, the guitar. He could sing. He was on the school orchestra, and obviously he had his own rock band. He had his own hat, and he was just the coolest dude, and I wanted to be like him. He was clearly the best, and I just wanted to be like him, so I decided to take violin lessons as well. And I took the same instructor. Now, the instructor said, look, you are going to set yourself a goal, and that goal is 4 months from now, you're going to give your first concert. Well, that's a bit of a stretch. He says, all right, better get practicing. So my concert song was going to be Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now, no grown man should ever play that song unless it's to his children, but that was going to be my concert song. So I practiced. I dedicated quite a bit of my own time away from the guitar and onto the violin to do this, to get ready for this concert. So the day comes, I'm in front of a group of my peers, and I'm standing there in front of everybody. How many of you play the violin here? A few of you. All right. So as you know, you really need to be really relaxed because your hands need to be smooth. Unfortunately, what happened for me was that I was so nervous that instead of playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, I played the techno remix version of it. It's a ba 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 ba. Suffice it to say, at the end of that concert, I gave up. Now, the good thing was that it allowed me to rechannel all that energy back into the guitar. And over the course of the next year, I recorded a tape, which I sold in the student store. I sold 300 copies of it. And I guess that was my first attempt at making something and selling it. And what was really funny about that is that this past weekend, in getting ready for this chat, I found the tape again, and I uploaded it to SoundCloud. This is the link here if you want to check it out later. It shows you how crappy I was in spite of trying. But I guess the point is, if you knew you'd be better off in the future for taking an action now, what would you do? Now, I'm not a professional violinist or a professional guitarist. In terms of what I do, I'm a seed investor based in London, and I've been fortunate enough to invest in over 100 companies from all over the world, and what I'm about to share with you comes from a lot of conversations with the founders that I work with. A lot of the feedback that I've received, a lot of the battles I know that they have fought, and a lot of the information that they've given me. So I just want to share some of that with you. There's a book by Seth Godin called The Dip. And in this book, it's a very small book. If you have time to read it, it's great. He really goes, the next 3 slides, the gist of the book is about going through the cycle of perseverance or quitting. And so these next 3 slides summarize one of the key quotes in that book. The first one goes, extraordinary benefits accrue to those who push just a tiny bit longer than most. Clearly, the 10% of additional effort that is the last bit is what gets people to be amazing. Like we heard earlier, Satya, who pushes himself to the top of a mountain, or Mr. Corres, who managed to persevere and make a car that is amazing by any extent. Elon Musk, a poster child of this. Many people thinking that the electric car, was never going to happen, but it did. I'm not going to spend too much time about perseverance because we have a lot of great speakers who are talking about that. I want to focus more about extraordinary benefits accrue to those who quit early and refocus their efforts on something new. Audio.com was a playlist directory, and in the days before iTunes came out, they were trying to aggregate a lot of audio on the web. iTunes came out, of course, there was this diaspora moving towards people using iTunes, and therefore it created this issue for the company. Out of a hackathon, Jack Dorsey basically created what is now Twitter. Question is, should they have persevered with the original idea? Or was that awareness of that company not going anywhere and pivoting, which is the startup word for quitting and refocusing or shifting an idea onto another one, Well, it led to a successful company that we all know today as Twitter. In both cases, whether it's because you persevered or because you quit early and you refocused, it's about being the best at what you set out to do. Now, the challenge with this statement, being the best, is that it's very ambiguous. Like, what is the best? Like, if I want to get healthy, does that mean I have to become an Olympic athlete? No. And so I want to introduce you to this concept of the art of positioning. The best way to tell you about the art of positioning is by giving you the classical case study about Hertz Rent-A-Car versus Avis Rent-A-Car. 1960s, Hertz Rent-A-Car has the most cars in the most locations in the city. By any imagination, Hertz Rent-A-Car is definitely the winning rental agency, and Avis is losing money. If Avis were to say, we're the #1 agency, like fake it effectively, the customer wouldn't believe it. Why? Because there is a quantum of success which Hertz has won, and it's very hard for people to really believe that. So Avis came up with an alternative positioning strategy. They came up with a slogan, which is now very famous, that focused on their ability to have superlative customer service. The slogan goes, we're #2, so we try harder. What it did was that it made people now think of Avis as the best in the customer service experience. Maybe if you're a corporate client and you're flying in somewhere, you just want a car. Maybe Hertz is the right thing for you. But if you're traveling with your family and you need a child seat or you need directions, maybe Avis is the right choice for you. They now have created a new category. There's customers out there who want that product. They are the best for that customer. It's not about a broad appeal. It's about being something for someone. But what if we're struggling to be the best? What if we're an audio and we're just struggling to be the best at that? Why don't we take action sooner to refocus our energies and do like Twitter and do something new? Well, let's go through 5 reasons why we don't take action sooner. The first one is that we sweat sunk costs too much, whether it's promises to our friends, to our families, to our investors. Also, investments that we make. For example, the product that we build, we get attached to it. There's something called the IKEA effect, which is a cognitive bias that makes you feel more attached to things that you make. So, for example, some companies have built products to hack this. There's a company called Build-A-Bear Workshop, where kids can build their teddy bears. Of course, you're going to be more attached to the teddy bear because you built it. Now, a way to overcome this is to take little bets. If you're not sure about whether you're into mountain climbing, you don't go and you climb Everest the first day. You maybe start off little, and then you see if this is the right thing for you. So you can build up and see if that's something that you're really interested in. Number 2, we fall subject to the loss aversion effect and the endowment effect. We value something that we have in our possession more than something we don't. And this is a problem if you have stock market. Sometimes we hold on to stocks a lot longer than we should. Number 3 is we actually don't know what we want, so we don't know if we're getting it. By not exactly having a clarity at what you want to do, why you're doing it, you don't actually know what decisions to make, what's success look like for you, what does failure look like for you. By not setting out kind of what you want to do, you might not actually get there. Number 4, we are too busy believing other people's stories, the bandwagon effect. Somebody says, hey, my company's doing amazing, everything's going great. The companies tell us, hey, look, we're doing really well, and you fall into this feeling of like, I should be doing well too. So that's what happens. You start believing other people's stories. Number 5, we're fearful of what will happen in the future. We're always afraid of, if I let this go, will something better come along? Turns out in some recent psychological studies that your attitude going into life in general predisposes you to outcomes. But more interestingly is that you adapt to outcomes, and whatever happens to you, you almost always come back to where you were before. If you have a life satisfaction score of, let's say, 5 out of 10, and something happens to you, you tend to go back to that state over a period of time. Again, if you knew you'd be better off in the future, what would you do now, especially knowing how to identify barriers for you to take action? So these are a couple things to consider if you're in the middle of choosing to persevere or of actually quitting and trying something new and refocusing your energies on something new. The first one is determine what success looks like for you. Find your vision. Stacy Peralta, how many of you have been skateboarders before? A few of you? Nobody? You? Awesome. I was a skateboarder, that's me in the background. And one of my childhood heroes was the Bones Brigade, Tony Hawk, and there's an autobiography that you can watch online about them. Stacy Peralta was the founder of the Bones Brigade and the founder of the Powell Peralta Company, and he knew that the team dynamic, having the best team, including great skaters like Tony Hawk, was going to be a key differentiator for his company. And so every decision he made was around keeping that team strong, keeping that team together. And so by having a strong vision, he created a company culture which was strong. That company culture led to him creating a product that was aligned with that company culture, and that made loyal customers. So a strong vision drives a strong company culture. A strong company culture allows employees to be aligned and understand why they're doing things and create amazing products and services, which then in turn make happy customers. The second thing is set out to be something for someone. Don't be everything for everyone. Position yourself. Another example of positioning is Southwest Airlines. They didn't want to be the next American Airlines or the next Delta. What they wanted to be was a replacement for the commuter market that was going between 3 cities. They knew that the commuters would be in cars, and they just needed an alternative that was convenient enough and cheap enough for them to give up their commute by car and move over to an airplane. And if you have a vision that you feel very passionate about, and you have a positioning that you feel is adequate for you to actually stand out for a specific customer and in a market that's meaningful enough, by all means persevere. It's not going to be easy, but at least you know that you have a chance. The last point is, throughout this entire process, develop a network. The network is going to be your safety net. Give back to the community. Build your ecosystem. Give time. Many times, founders, when their companies ultimately succeed or fail, it's the people that they met along their journey that help them out, either in success or in finding something new to work on. Well, there's a founder that is recently working on a new company, and through the relationships he made in his previous company, he managed to raise funding for his new project in an amazingly fast time. Now, to give you an example of what I mean by aligning vision and aligning a strong positioning, I decided just to see what that looks like. So earlier on, we had Dion from talk about how plastic creates issues for the environment. And I was thinking, and I was trying to be open to new ideas, and I was thinking, well, how does an event organizer get an alternative to a plastic bottle? Are there any alternatives out there? And I figured, oh, there's one in the audience. And I figured maybe if event organizers had a company they could go to buy sustainable bottles, rather than focusing on where the country of the water was from, they would be able to be both sustainable but also provide water in bottles for other people in an event. So over the last few breaks, I banged out a website here. It's called the Sustainable Water Company. You can look it up. You can buy sustainable water now. It's just the link for... It's just a link to show an interest and what kind of customer you are. This is called doing things lean in the startup world. It's a lean website. I just want to get interest from people, finding out what my customer is, why they want to have it. Are you a small business, big business? Are you an events organizer? Are you a charity? Why do you want to buy these bottles? I want to understand who you are and why you're buying these bottles that are going to be sustainable. And I'm giving you the vision as to why I want to do this. And I'm saying, okay, is this something that somebody really cares about? And I just put this up here to show you that you can take action. Just be open to ideas that are around you, either from other speakers or things that you see in everyday life. And the process of starting something and getting up and running is only a matter of hours. So with that, thank you.